The thing about the Gothic is it's very psychological. Yeah. It's a deep exploration of the dark aspects of human psyche. Hi, Anjali. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Not bad. Not bad. What are you currently working on?
Well, I'm done. I haven't done any concept notes for poetry or Macbeth, but then I've finished the other two, and then I just continue with the essay plans I told you with last week.
Yes. And how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling fine.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You're not feeling nervous about the exams?
Well, not really. I was nervous, but like not really that much anymore.
Really? How come? What's changed?
I've been doing English every day during the holidays, so I feel a bit more confident.
Oh, good, 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 good. I know you can do it. I know you can do it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm
It's mainly
telling you, you
just
can do it.
language that I'm concerned about.
Hmm. Your writing for language is good.
Yeah. I mean,
Really,
I
really
did
good.
a language paper two yesterday, and you know how I told you that I was like running out of time?
Yeah.
Yesterday, yeah, I didn't run out of time. I actually had like 10 minutes to spare, so that
Okay.
was good.
How was your like structures, like in terms of the techie structure and stuff? How was all of that?
Yeah, I like wrote it down, so then I actually used it. But
Hmm.
it was all a bit still it's still a bit of rush. So there wasn't like that many it wasn't that developed, I think.
Sorry. Well, I mean, it's going to be like that though, isn't it? I mean,
Mm.
it's not going to be absolutely perfect under exam conditions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's just if there's something, I mean, maybe what I need to start doing is just going over strategy and stuff with you guys in should we do that on Saturday?
Yeah, okay. That
Just
would be
go over
helpful.
like exam strategy. Um because I think that when you guys are reading the extracts, yeah, you want to just be sort of like just keeping an eye out for what you think the themes are. And
Mm.
then when you're analyzing and you're talking about the effects, you want to just try and link it to those themes, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll go over that. And then just what I've been saying to the others as well, yeah, one of the keys with like grade 9 is just the detail. Just try really pay attention to the quality of your vocabulary. Do you have anything in your tracker that you want to have a look at quickly?
You can see the essay plans that I was doing.
Yeah.
I
So
should.
just for Jekyll and Hyde, yeah. So I've uploaded the emergency
Mhm.
unit. It goes up to lesson 6. So I will add more. So I'm just working on them now, right? But hopefully that should keep you busy for now. So you have the workbook there, the exam questions, essay plans for question A and question B, and then question A model answers. Okay, so
Okay.
you can plan those there. Okay. So what were you working on? Which one should I look at?
Well, I've basically done all the part B ones from Macbeth, Jekyll and Hyde, and Lord of the Flies.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just check this then.
I really haven't finished them. It's not like.
Hmm.
Yeah, so in my analysis, I included that was basically all the supporting sentences. Um, yeah, but I obviously I didn't need context, so I just left that out.
That's good. Really good.
Yeah, but for some of the sentences, I used what you put in the library. So,
I want you to do that. I'm perfectly happy for you to do that. It's fine. So just quickly, what about the introduction though?
right, should I plan the introduction as well?
Yeah, I think just do just a short one. I would probably just do a hook and thesis statement. I'd probably just do that because I know it's only 20 marks. So it's not like a massive thing. But you do have 33 minutes.
Yeah.
So the Edexcel paper is fairly generous actually. So I worked it out. It's about 1.6 minutes per mark. It's like 1.6 something. So that means for the 20 markers, it's basically 33 minutes. So it's quite a good amount of time. So you can just write a short introduction and some really
Okay.
nice body paragraphs, just like what you've got there, basically. Have you included? Oh, okay, right. So Stevenson makes a point about social conditioning. Oh, it's interesting that you've included a bit about the Victorian society. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Like, I know that they're not assessing you on AO3 strictly. If you include things that are relevant, they should still give you the marks for it. If I were doing the exam, I would probably just sprinkle in a few things like that about the period, like just a little few small details, just to anchor it in a little bit of fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's only one thing that I can't quite see here, which is, do you know what I'm looking for? I mean, the analysis is brilliant.
The facts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's because when I was writing it, I was thinking about because when I write it, like I thought I'd just say like this evokes like heightens mystery or something. I didn't know if I had to write that.
Yeah. I would put it in there because whatever you're doing is basically practice.
Yeah.
So, because if we look here, right, so it's about separating the socially acceptable side from the repressed desires, good. Challenges Victorian beliefs about morality, that's good. Syntactic parallelism, very nice. Man is not truly one, but truly two. Yeah, very nice quote, actually. The view that man cannot be pure as he's constantly in equilibrium between good and evil. Oh, that's a really nice quote, actually. Nice expression. Significance is reinforced by the use of repetition and hard consonants. Good. Final chapter. Okay, cool. So, like, just as an example with this, right? What would you say is how would you say this affects the reader?
They are directed, like Stevenson directs the reader to reflect on duality and...
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah. Okay. It causes self-reflection, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Because I think really what he's doing here is he's pointing a finger at Victorian society, and he's asking them to look at themselves, right, and to see if this is basically them, right? So definitely self-reflection. But remember, that can also, you can then, because remember, right, when you're writing about effects, try to write 2 sentences.
Okay.
Just 2 sentences per body paragraph, just to make it convincing for the examiners. So if you have that one in there, they'll be like, oh, that's good. And I think if you have the second one in there, they'll be like, yeah, the student knows what they're doing. They haven't just thrown it in there by mistake, right? But remember, so for example, you're talking about self-reflection, but that can also create tension. One more quick thing as well. Did you take notes for Jekyll and Hyde?
Yeah, I did.
What did you manage to get for genre?
Is it? I think I put Gothic.
Gothic, yes, correct, right. So effects mean the choice of these genres enhance the main ideas, particular theme of duality, the conflict between good and evil, suspense and creative tense, reader's emotion we explored. Yeah, the thing about the Gothic is it's very psychological. Yeah, it's a deep exploration of the dark aspects of human psyche. Because one of the things that you might notice with Gothic is there's always a dream sequence in Gothic. So actually, it's 2 things, right? Actually, it's many things, but anyway, there's always a dream sequence, and there's always a monster. So basically, when we're talking about Gothic, right, the Gothic is an exploration of human fears. This is the main thing about it. It's an exploration of our fears as human beings. What are the things that we're so scared about, right? And the monsters are personifications of our fears.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. So Hyde is a monster, right? Why? Because he's a personification of the thing that the Victorians feared the most about themselves, that they could become monstrous like that. Because one of the things that I don't know if you know this, but one of the things about the Victorian period, those people believed that they were the absolute pinnacle of human evolution. Yeah. So when was Jekyll and Hyde written? Let's just check quickly. I'm pretty sure it was written after Darwin released his book on the species of origins.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I referenced some of that, like degenerations thing.
Yeah, exactly, right? Because they were so afraid. Now, at the same time, you had a guy called R.M. Ballantyne, right? I don't know if you know about his book.
Yeah, I referenced him in Lord of the Flies because he wrote Coral
Exactly, right? Because what was his point in that book? What was he trying to say about Victorian society?
Like they were perfect.
Yeah, sorry, carry on.
No, I was just gonna say what I talked about in Lord of the Flies is I literally got this from the library, but how evil the boys like defeat evil, they're perfect, they're confident, but then in Lord of the Flies, the evil like destroys them, and it's like like reverses a concept.
Exactly. In Ballantyne's concept, evil comes from outside. So they're fighting off these savages and stuff like that, these foreign people. So the evil comes from outside. In Lord of the Flies, it comes from the inside.
Yeah.
So it's an internal thing, because what Golding is asking is, are we the baddies? Have you seen that? There's like a meme going around. I don't know which movie it is. There's this character, he goes, are we the baddies? And that's what Golding is asking. He's saying, wait a second, we keep blaming the Germans and the foreigners and all these people, but are we the baddies? That's what he's asking in there, because he saw so much evil in World War II, right? So and that is Ballantyne's concept, right? And that was the fear, the Victorians had of, okay, there's one fear that we might devolve, but there's this other fear that maybe we're not who we say we are. Maybe we're not as perfect as we think. This is one of the fears. And so if you talk about it in that sense, that Hyde as a monster, you can link it to Gothic elements. And you can talk about how Hyde might reflect conventional Gothic elements of literature in the sense of him being a personification of human fears. Specifically at that point, he was a personification of the Victorian fear of devolution and of hypocrisy as well, right? So you can talk about those two things.
Can I talk about that in part A? Because I have to talk about form. Does that count as like form? Because it's like
Yes. Okay. I'm just giving you that just because I know I'm telling you again, nobody's going to talk about Gothic genre. I swear nobody's going to talk about it. I'm telling you they're not going to talk about it. So there's certain things that you can be guaranteed people are going to talk about. They won't talk about the genre, and they won't talk about the plot structure. Remember, by the way, Jekyll and Hyde is also a tragedy. Remember that. It's a tragedy just like Macbeth. And guess what? Macbeth is a Jacobean tragedy. And guess what? Gothic stories evolved from Jacobean tragedies. Evolved from them. Yeah. So Macbeth, if you look at it, how does it start? Thunder and lightning. You got supernatural elements. It's a highly psychological play. Highly. If you really think about it, for the vast majority of that play, we are inside Macbeth's mind. For the vast majority of it, we're there when he's hallucinating about the dagger. We're there when he's hallucinating about Banquo. Like it's all in the mind, right? So that is the thing about the Gothic. It explores the human mind, and it explores the dark aspects as well. Have you started reading the Macbeth, the booklets that I made?
Yeah. I used those for my essay plans that I also made on Macbeth.
Good. Yeah. I mean, I know that they include AO1, AO2, and AO3, but at the end of the day, the ideas are still the same.
Yeah.
You obviously just have to separate them wherever you can. But yeah, so one quick thing about tragedy, and this applies to both Macbeth and Jekyll and Hyde, right? So if I go here, there is a whole section on tragedy. I don't know if you saw it. So tragic plot structure. Here. Yeah, there you go. One of the key functions of the tragic plot structure is its capacity to critique societal values. The story is not so much about critiquing the characters, the protagonist. Jekyll and Macbeth are actually, in many ways, they're actually victims of their societies. The tragic plot structure is actually a way of pointing at the society and saying, for example, with the Victorians, your obsession with perfection, that's what killed Jekyll. That killed him. It's not just Jekyll himself, but he is trying to conform to your values. That's what destroyed him. He's a victim. We're supposed to feel sorry for him. That's what a tragedy is. Same thing with Macbeth, right? Macbeth tries so hard to live up to the ideals of his society, the masculine, heroic ideals of his society. Remember that, like, for example, with a lot of Shakespeare's plays, they explore the effects of the early modern obsession with honor, right? And so in that sense, the early modern obsession, early modern is like, I forgot what it is. It's sort of like, was it year like 1400 up to like the year 1700, somewhere around there, right? That's the early modern period. It was notoriously obsessed with honor. obsessed. So a lot of Shakespeare's plays explore the concept of honor, right? So, for example, in something like Much Ado About Nothing, I would say in that play, you're really sort of like exploring it from a female perspective. So what happens to a woman in their society if her honor is disgraced, right? What happens in that story is that people spread rumors about her. So the story is it's about eavesdropping and rumors and things like that. They spread rumors about this woman, and then she's just about to get married, and the guy who's about to marry her, he believes the rumors, and he exposes all of them as they're at the altar to get married, right? And then he's telling her dad that she's like this and she's like that, and he's calling, what does he call it? He called it like an orange or something. It was like a Spanish word for orange. I forgot what it was, but it was like a euphemism for, how do I say it? A very dishonorable woman. Let's say it like that, right? He's like telling the dad, and then she's like, "No, it's not true." And then they realize later on that it was all just a rumor. It was a false rumor. But while that's going on, like her reputation is destroyed, completely destroyed, right? So that's from that perspective. In Macbeth, we're exploring from a masculine perspective. So what did it mean to be a man? What did it mean to be a man trying to reach these, the status of honor, right? He defeats the invading king of Norway. He defeats the treacherous Thane of Cawdor. They praise him, oh, brave Macbeth, right? And he's violent, right? Violent. So they're praising him for this violence. Remember, he cuts off the guy's head and sends him from the nave to cut off his head, put his head on the battlement. And then they're like, oh, brave Macbeth. Wonderful. Brave Macbeth, worthy gentleman, valiant cousin, right? That's Shakespeare's way of saying, be careful what you're praising. Look at these values you're praising. It's not quite, right? So he's done all this. And then Duncan says, we shall name Malcolm as Prince of Cumberland. In other words, next in line to the throne. Yeah. And then Macbeth is like, wait a second. What do you mean, Prince of Cumberland? He's like, oh, okay. This is a step on which I must either fall down or overleap. And then he goes to his wife, and then he says, and then they start plotting to kill Duncan. And then he says to her, oh, we shall go no further in this business. And she says, wait, are you not brave? And he's like, he's probably thinking to himself, wait a second, I just defeated the invading king of Norway. What do you mean I'm not brave? I shall do all to be a man, whatever, right? And then he's like, okay, I've got to do something else now to prove that I am brave, right? So he has to keep stepping up and stepping up and stepping up, and that eventually destroys him. And so one of the concepts of tragedies of that period is they explore like masculine characters doing everything they can to reach this status of honor in the eyes of their society to such an extent that they just end up destroying themselves and destroying others. And that's exactly what happens with Macbeth. He destroys society. He kills, like if you think about Lady Macduff and her children, there was absolutely zero reason to get them murdered. Absolutely zero. Apart from just paranoia. There is no reason. Their purpose of being slaughtered in the play is to show you how extreme he had become to reach that status of honor, to protect it. And then in the end, after the Lady Macbeth dies and he realizes he's got nothing else to live for, he then admits his realization. He says, all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. He's like, oh my gosh, I give up. He's like, I gave up. He's like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, you know what? I'm so foolish. We're so foolish, but all the destruction he's done is too late. And that's part of the tragedy as well. Okay. Part of the tragedy. All right. So do you get what I'm saying about tragedy? It's the society that builds them up and causes their downfall at the same time.
Okay.
It's a way of Shakespeare saying, be careful of your values. You're the ones who destroy yourselves. Right. And that's the argument against the witches being supernatural and powerful, by the way. The fact that Shakespeare uses the tragic plot structure, it's an argument against the witches because the tragic plot structure is about criticizing the society. And to a certain extent, it does make the individuals responsible as well. But they have a limited responsibility. It's more about criticizing the societies, but both are responsible to some extent.
Okay.
Make sense?
So I can use those as like in alternative interpretations.
Here's what I would do, This is what I would do. I would make them my main interpretations. If you look at the answer that I did for the witches, So if you see what I did, right, I gave a bit of a preface there, right? And then I'm basically talking about the fact that not everybody during Shakespeare's time believed in witches. So I'm just introducing that ideas, right? To plant the little bit of seed of doubt in the idea that the witches are supernatural. And then here I said, Thus, rather than repeat the common sentiment that the witches control Macbeth's destiny, the following essay will explore how Shakespeare seems to cast doubt on the true extent of the witches' supernatural powers by presenting them as vengeful and petty, calling attention to the play's own artificiality, and employing psychomachic theatre to reflect Macbeth's inner psyche. So for me, that's actually my main argument. And what I'm saying in the beginning is I'm saying, I know that people normally say the witches are supernatural and powerful, but I'm going to argue against that. That's basically what I'm saying there. Okay. I'm going to argue against that, right? So try and have a look at this essay here about the witches and try and see how I've argued that. Because basically what I'm saying is that in this first paragraph, I'm basically focusing on the fact that they were upset with the sailor's wife because they didn't give them chestnuts. I mean, if you're so supernatural and powerful, why would you be upset? I mean, can't you get chestnuts yourself? If you can control the seas and the weather and people, can't you get chestnuts? Why are you upset? You know what I'm saying? And then when Banquo says you should be women, but your beards forbid me to interpret, that is possibly an example of embedded stage directions in the play. So Shakespeare sometimes did this as well. He'd embed the stage directions in the lines. Because if you think about what he's saying, you should be women, but you've got beards. That's kind of weird. So what Shakespeare's saying here is that whoever's playing the witches must have beards, whereas normally you'd have little boys playing the role of female characters, because females weren't allowed to play on stage, by the way. So you'd have boys playing female roles. But in this case, he wants men with beards. That's strange. That's not normal, right? And I think it's a way of Shakespeare pointing out how artificial the witches are on stage.
Okay.
You know the concept of breaking the fourth wall?
No.
It's in here, yeah? So there's a concept of breaking the fourth wall. Another term you can use is metatheatre. Metatheatre is another common technique that Shakespeare uses. It's like a play within a play, right? So the characters in the play are pointing out that the witches are artificial. They're not real. And so one of the concepts behind metatheatre, it's a way of reminding the audience that this is not real. It's a play, it's artificial. So the fourth wall is the wall of illusion, right? You've got the two walls on the side and the wall at the back. The fourth wall is the wall of illusion, separating the audience from the fictional world in the play. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if the characters in the play are saying, yeah, these characters are not real, they're artificial, it's a way of breaking that illusion and reminding the audience, oh, it's just artificial, you know? And the point is, because I searched this up, the point is to get the audience to consider whether or not these things are real in real life as well. In other words, witches. Were they real? With all the witch hunting that was going on, were they real? I think Shakespeare's subtly asking the audience to think about that. Are they real or not? You know, we're busy burning all these people at the stake. Most of them are women. Is this really a good thing? Can they really control the seas and the weather and all that stuff? And then the third paragraph, so that's when they say be bloody, bold, and resolute. So here I'm exploring it from a different perspective, which is something called psychomachic theatre. Did you read about that?
No, I haven't read about the witches.
Okay. So just to quickly give you a quick overview, psychomachic theatre was an older technique. It was basically a medieval technique. And psychomachic theatre was it was an old technique where the way that the play was designed was that you'd have the protagonist as obviously the central character, but all the other characters were basically reflections of different parts of the character's psyche, different parts of their mind. So other characters just reflected different parts of the protagonist, right? So if you looked at it from that perspective, you could say, well, maybe Lady Macbeth represents his fears because she keeps questioning his masculinity. Are you not brave? She keeps questioning that. Yeah. Banquo could represent his conscience because although he may have been tempted by the witches, he decides not to go with the temptation. He's like, okay, no, I shouldn't do this. So that could represent the part of Macbeth that realizes that shouldn't go ahead and assassinate the king, which could also explain why he actually kills Banquo or has him murdered, because he has to kill his conscience. He's not going to achieve kingship if he doesn't kill his conscience, right? And that's another point about ambition, is that Shakespeare could be pointing out that sometimes in order for us to achieve our ambitions, we have to kill our conscience. We have to be careful of this, right? And then therefore the witches could represent his desires to be king, because they keep saying, thou shalt be king hereafter. right? So I'm looking at it from that perspective, right? Is that they're basically speaking out his desires in real time. That's what this paragraph is about.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thanks. That's actually really interesting.
Yeah. So if you can talk about these things, because you know, guaranteed, you know, nobody's going to talk about the tragic plot structure in Jekyll and Hyde or Macbeth. That's one way you can separate writing from the rest. Nobody's going to talk about the Gothic genre in Jekyll and Hyde. Nobody's going to mention that that something like Macbeth, the Jacobean tragedies, were proto-Gothic forms. They were the early form of Gothic. You know, you could, if you really wanted to, you could even do what you call an intercontextual link as well. You could even talk about the fact that Jekyll and Hyde was developed. The Gothic form was developed from the Jacobean tragedies, right? You could just do a quick intertextual link like that, and then guaranteed nobody's going to talk about psychomachic theatre. The only reason why I learned about it is because I was listening to a lecturer from Oxford University called Emma Smith. She's really good with Shakespeare, really, really good. So I was just listening to her and she was talking about this and I was like, oh, that's quite an interesting concept. I think, do I reference her? Yeah. I think I referenced it at the end of the document. So, yeah. So
does that count as context, the psychomatic theatre?
It's a technique. So it's part of AO2, but you can talk about it in a contextual factor as well.
Okay.
But it's a technique, right? So because it's an interpretation. We could say he could be using this technique. It's possible, you know.
Okay.
So you can evaluate that. But you know that because they're not going to talk about that, it gives you an opportunity to separate your writing from everybody else. All right?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Anything else? I mean, your notes look good. All of that stuff looks good. I mean, if you can write like that in exams, I'm sure you're going to do well. I'm telling you. Just keep going. You're working hard.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm confident in your writing. So just keep going. But yeah, just let me know if there's anything else you want me to go over with you. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Cool. All right. Okay. Cheers, Anjali.
Bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.